This is Balmoral Road. We're outside the Travelodge. As you can see, we are right by the pleasure beach. We're walking towards the residential area. Now, this is the South Shore and the South Pier area. Yesterday we were in the Addington Street Food Market, and one of the lovely traders of a craft pitch was telling us that there's been a lot of investment in the town and there's a huge regeneration project going on. Certainly when we visited Blackpool town centre last, which was probably 12-13 years ago, it was very dilapidated everywhere with a lot of chicken shops. And although there's some chicken shops left, there's a lot more fish and chip shops back again. And some of the town centre has been beautifully pedestrianised. And I have to say that even in the tourist areas, there's hardly any litter. The streets are spotless. And the people are so friendly. Well, this south area is very deprived, as are other parts of the town. And there's been a new DWP building built and some other posh buildings, including a new Marco Pierre White in a flash new hotel. And the local residents and businesses have been given handsome payouts because a lot of this is all being pulled down. Some places we've noticed are being done up, I presume because they've had grants. We will take you on a little tour of some of the areas of dilapidation, and probably when we visit again in the next year or two, it will already be very different. It might be a good idea at some stage in the future to do a comparison video to see how much it has changed. It's certainly changed a lot anyway since I visited the town in the 1970s and 80s with my family. We used to come to Blackpool every year for our holidays. My granny was from Preston and she would pay for us all to come and spend a week in one of the famous Blackpool boarding houses with the obligatory Blackpool landlady. I've got a few stories about that I could tell you. This is Station Road and the junction with Bond Street. Oh, there's Dan, look. So as you can see, a lot of these buildings are quite dilapidated. I'm not sure how many of these though are going to be pulled down. There's certainly a lot of little hotels that are now boarded up, which is very sad to see. We'll take you very shortly along the promenade northbound, and you will be able to see there just how dilapidated some of the areas became, and if you can picture in your mind that they're going to be completely transformed. It's the usual story of seaside towns being left to go to rack and ruin, which is terrible really. We all need the seaside. It cheers everybody up. This is the South Promenade. As you can see, areas of it have fallen into quite severe dilapidation. This one's having some work done to it. That may survive the cull. They might have had a grant or something, or it might be turned into something else. Sometimes that will happen. As you can see, it needs a lot of work doing to it. Goodness knows what it will become. I'm not going to make any assumptions about what it may or may not become. This is one of the dilapidated buildings, and this is a Yates. This was once a wine lodge. It says here, don't worry, be happy. Look how busy our teams are right now. Well, yeah, I can absolutely see how busy it is. Mother Hubbard's is quite new. some dilapidation here. As you can see, there's the back of this building as well. So let's take a look. This is the back of Yates. It's quite a big premise. It might be made into luxury apartments. As you can see, Mag's Cafe isn't doing any business and probably hasn't for a while. This is another dilapidated building. I don't know about the Sun Inn next to it. That's quite an interesting building. The orange. It's a nice old building. This is Bolton Street. This street is quite dilapidated. Now this one has a lot of detritus all scattered over the pavement. Unusual because a lot of Blackpool is so clean in comparison to what we're used to. Where we are, everything's down to volunteers, especially in Ramsgate. But I presume that this area hasn't been used for quite some time. The upstairs of the Sun Inn just behind us looks like it's being refurbished or dismantled, and then there's a blue building next to it which has whitewashed windows below, and that looks to have been a business as well, so I presume that's going to be included. This is stuff people have chucked out before they've abandoned it, I think. But you can see what it looks like. This area will probably look completely different in the next few years. Over here, look, graffiti. And this is Hague Road. As you can see, boarded up building, possibly a garage. This end one's boarded up, it says for sale. I think all this has had compulsory purchase orders on it. Or most of it anyway. We've got cash and carry. And there's this one. This is right at the end of the street we've been walking down.
It's got some nice stained glass windows in it.
Yes, that was Films camera shop developing. The sign's quite faded now as well. This will be a compulsory purchase order, no doubt. That's not been used in a very long time. This appears to be a continuation of the same street, so we were obviously on the street corner where the camera shop was, and then it's a junction and it continues henceforth. That's quite an interesting building on the right there.
Memorial school.
A memorial school. That's interesting. I'll put either below in the comments or across the video a little bit more about that. Looks to be a religious school of some kind.
Wayman Memorial School.
And now we're coming to the junction. On the right is Crystal Road. Quite an interesting name. I figure that a lot of this will be going. It's looking extremely dilapidated. Now this building looks interesting. This will probably be a CPO because all the windows have been left open. Dan, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, it's common practice if a building is about to be demolished that they open all the windows. I think that keeps all the dust, that stops all the dust building up inside.
That's really interesting. It's a big building. What have you got any ideas what you think it might end up as? Apartments, do you reckon? Or
could be, or they might just knock it down.
Yeah. There could probably maybe be a few more green spaces. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be nice. I doubt it though. It would be posh flats probably.
Or a posh hotel, or
yeah,
a wine bar or something.
Yeah, something posh.
And this is the front of the building. This is the new Lord's Hotel. Soon to be Old Lord's Hotel. No business today. We cannot pay. All the doors and windows are inaccessible. This hotel doesn't seem to be doing much either. What do you think happened here, Dan?
Oh, probably either ran out of money or competition from like the Travelodge,
Yeah.
or it's a compulsory purchase order.
Yeah.
There's somebody who's looking out the window.
Yeah, but there's not much happening.
Yeah, it's probably somebody living in there.
There's already something started here. It says learn more about our plans for a new hotel for Blackpool. You can see behind the hoardings that something is going on. You can see building has started. There's some old buildings, but there's also a lot newer building at the far end. This is to keep trespassers out, though it never stops some people from having a crafty look, because at the end of the day we are a nation of nosy parkers, net curtain twitchers and general NIMBYs. This is Woodfield Road. Here is Sutton Park. This is the one that was behind the hoardings. That did look like it was part of the site, but isn't. But it is being done up. It looks to be empty, but they've got the alarm system on and the scaffold up. A lot of the buildings along here are quite dilapidated, and undoubtedly some of those will be under CPOs. This is another hotel of the many along the front that really needs some TLC. This doesn't look like it's doing anything. This is the Belmont. Yeah, point out the Christmas things.
Yeah, festive holidays.
Festive holidays.
And Christmas.
I mean, even the flats which are still in use are looking a bit dilapidated. And it's the same with all these. They're used by coach trips, but they look really dilapidated. I can imagine that in the next few years all these will come down. These are all in various state of occupancy. This one says to call a number,
which probably wouldn't be answered.
This is boarded up. Anybody here is probably a squatter or somebody who is a guardian. In that case, the building would be a Camelot. Sometimes places are rented out at a very low rent for whoever is living there to look after the building prior to demolition, and contracts are usually up to maybe a year or so. It happens with like old people's homes that have been vacated, hotels, old fire stations, anything that is sizable that may be prone to squatters. In actual fact, this place looks like it's inhabited by refugees. That's maybe what it's being used for at the moment. But again, they would be seen as being guardians of the building. This is a gift shop. Sometimes there's a bit of business along here. And it's like this on this side of the road for quite a way up. I'm not going to show you any more of this section. This bit is where it starts to get a little bit more lively. There's still some dilapidation, but this is a popular venue. See, this is a bit dilapidated. This is the street adjacent to the Manchester, which is on the corner. And you can see there's some demolition that's already started to take place. Building next to it is dilapidated. Looking down, that there's other shabby properties. A lot of these will be under CPO, no doubt. So now we're walking towards the central pier, and you can see it's quite a bit better. Well, there's still some shabbiness, and there is some building work going on, but there is some shabbiness on the back streets. The pubs though are lovely. We've been in some of the pubs down some of the shabby back streets, and we haven't felt unsafe in any of them, have we, Dan?
No, not at all.
The people are lovely, so friendly. Now this is the Vauxhall area, and as you can see, there's renovations going on here. central part is being redeveloped, as you can see. You've only got to look at this in the North Pier area to see what has been achieved. Look at this.